Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Happy New Year. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. This is Jelani Bullard. This is Brooks the Magnificent Gibbs. Why he's so magnificent, we shall find out. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Movie Monday. That's right, everybody. Welcome to PCP Movie Monday. Every Monday, we're going to be talking about a movie. Tonight, we will be talking about 2008's kickoff of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Terrence Howard, Jeff Bridges, directed by Jon Favreau, with music by...
I don't know that guy's name.
Exactly. But it does have AC/DC in it. We're going to be talking about this movie because we got Avengers Infinity War coming out. Right. Not to overshadow Black Panther, but that's coming out as well. Then Infinity War. And of course, everybody knows it because you've seen it all over social media and the networks. If you watch one of these movies a week, it perfectly times up to the release of Infinity War. So that's what we're doing. We're going to start off with Iron Man. This is
Jelani Bullard.
This is
Brooks.
And I am Robbie. So let's start talking about Iron Man. First of all, I love this movie. I think it's great. I think most people love this movie. It kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a very, very important movie because Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War, all these Captain America and Thor movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, none of that exists without the success of this movie. And it was a gamble that Marvel took, obviously. Marvel wanted to do their own films, not just license out their properties to other companies like Fox and Columbia, like they did with Spidey, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men. But they wanted to start making their own stuff and maybe build a cohesive cinematic universe. And they had to take like a $500 million loan from a bank, and they put up the rights to Iron Man and the Hulk in order, like they put that up as collateral. If these movies tanked, the future of the rights of these characters could have been in jeopardy. Things could have been way different. The success of these movies, of course, led to Disney wanting to purchase Marvel. Iron Man is such a quintessentially important comic book superhero film. Jelani, do you agree? Why? And what did you think about the movie?
Well, I mean, I love Iron Man. I thought that Iron Man basically encapsulated what I thought was cool. Because at first, I was a comic book hater of Iron Man, of Tony Stark.
Okay, I remember
fundamentally,
that.
I didn't like him in Civil War. I took his side in the comic book. I did not take his side in the comic book.
Who did?
No one did.
Who took Iron Man's side in Civil War, the comic book?
So I couldn't stand him. So I came to this movie with, like, no expectations. I was like, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I walked out of this movie, and I loved it. It was cinematic gold to me when I first saw it, because it's a perfect retelling of just falling, getting back up, and keep on fighting. And he took himself to another level. Like Robert Downey Jr. took himself to another level in that movie, and he was perfect for the role. He looks exactly like Tony Stark would, and
he's even had similar experiences.
Yeah, a lot. So, I mean, getting that full aspect of Robert Downey Jr. Terrence Howard is great. He plays a great roadie, a good sidekick character to him. You see War Machine happening. You know it's going to happen. And in this movie, it's subtly given to you. Like nowadays, when they want you to have a sequel, they give you, all the pieces they want to make their universe with.
Oh, yeah.
But with
this one, they had
just
that one bit.
One little bit. And he's like,
next time.
And that was it. And I love that the character development in this movie for everyone. I mean, Jeff Bridges is amazing in this movie. He's Obadiah Stane, maybe like one of my favorite villains. He's just simple.
He's great simple. MCU villain. Absolutely.
Yeah. Obadiah's his voice. Jeff Bridges always has that.
How ironic, Tony.
Yeah. He's always like that. And that scene with the machine he puts beside his ear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, when he double crosses him, it's so clean. So, I enjoy the film. I'm a big fan. And I'm a big fan of the Marvel Universe because of this. Because I wasn't going to be interested at all until I saw these.
Of course, Iron Man was created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Don Heck, and Larry Lieber. It debuted in March 1963 in comic book Tales of Suspense, number 39. Do you have a Tales of Suspense number 39, Brooks?
I do not.
He does not, but it is on his wish list. Brooks, what do you think about Iron Man, your recollections, its place in comic book movie history, and just what you thought about the movie and the performances.
Well, Iron Man I think it's still one of the best MCU movies
Okay.
so far. I mean, it's been knocked down a few pegs by some better movies, but it's still up there. They really captured the character well in this movie. Like, his motivations, because, he starts out, he's the scummy kind of arms dealer, but he doesn't see himself that way, He thinks he's he's helping the troops, He doesn't realize how much damage his weapons are causing in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And when he has to find out, firsthand how these bad terrorists and things are, stealing his weapons and using them against the people he actually made them for. And, he has a change of heart. He's like, maybe we don't need to just keep making all these weapons. Maybe we should try something else, Try to use money for something better.
Yeah.
And the Iron Man armor, of course, is it's like a symbol, Like he's of him, putting aside all that other stuff and, doing the right thing.
Yeah, putting aside his past and embracing a bold future, steaming ahead. I love this movie. I think it's great. It, like you said, it really does capture the essence of Tony Stark and Iron Man perfectly, and all of the themes in all three of the Iron Man movie, 3.5 if you count Spider-Man Homecoming. But the themes in all three of these movies start off with the fact that Tony is Iron Man. It is not the suit of armor, and they start building this there because Tony Stark dies,
Right.
and Iron Man is born. It's a great adaptation of the original origin story from that Tales of Suspense comic book. If you've read it, he gets kidnapped by some terrorists. He's forced to make weapons for them. Instead, he builds the suit of armor with Yinsen, and he escapes. Yinsen dies. He goes out and tries to make the world a better place, turn his company around, and eventually, in the Armor Wars story, Obadiah Stane, a rival businessman, actually, he wasn't part of Stark Industries in the comic books, but a rival to Tony Stark gets the armor information, steals it all. Tony's dealing with alcoholism at the time. James Rhodes in it. I love this movie. I think it is a great adaptation of the comic books. The characters ring true. This relationship between Rhodey and Tony in this movie is so great. I think Terrence Howard does an amazing job with Robert Downey Jr. of having this great rapport, and just they're funny and they're comical timing, and
Right.
and Howard's.
This is a funny movie to be a funny. It's not pulling the laughs out of you. They're natural.
It's very
It's
natural.
very natural.
You got the charm and
They'll play
charisma
off.
of Robert Downey Jr. You got the looseness of the dialogue. It
Right.
feels like a lot of this was ad-libbed.
They're having
kinda
a conversation.
and it seems like the actors are having a lot of fun. Jeff Bridges, for instance, they told him, you don't have to. He's like, do I need to shave my head for this? Because I noticed in the comic books, Obadiah Stane's bald. He's like, no, you don't have to shave your head. And he's like, well, I want to. And so it seems like they all had so much fun with it. Gwyneth Paltrow
She's
is
awesome.
amazing as Pepper Potts in this movie, is she not?
I thought she was pretty good.
Absolutely. She forms throughout this whole series of Iron Man movies the heart of Iron Man. And speaking of heart, I love that bit about proof that Tony Stark
Proof
has a
Tony's
heart. It's great. But like you said earlier, it's funny, but it's not forced funny.
Right.
But it's also serious.
It doesn't.
When Jeff Bridges, Obadiah Stane, betrays Tony, and he uses that device,
dark.
it's a dark moment. You get all this comic stuff, and how fun is it when Tony's putting on that armor and learning how to fly, and the robots?
the best parts. Yeah, man. I love that robot. Oh my gosh. What's the name of that robot?
Do you remember the name of the robot?
You
I
know
don't
the
remember.
Longer? Oh no, you mean his robot?
Yeah.
His little.
Man, he was awesome.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
But putting that together and just him having fun with the interplay with a CGI character made it so much. Like I said, we've never seen stuff like this before. Like, it's commonplace now. And you can just watch a film and be like, yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens. Oh, that's bad CG. This was seamless. I mean, it still holds up from 2008.
Absolutely.
So I love this film because of those little touches. They do little things with this film that you see a lot now, but they don't do it as well. I don't think.
Iron Man became the staple for future Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Unfortunately, Iron Man almost became like this cookie cut type thing where they
Right.
just kind of try to redo this story, redo this whole tone. The next movie, the MCU, The Incredible Hulk, which we'll be talking about next week, has a completely different tone than Iron Man, though a lot of Marvel movies today do share the same tone, but Iron Man really balances this tone so well. And this is the movie where that all comes from. But it is funny, it's action-packed, it's fun, it's got serious moments, it's got deep moments. This is real, deep stuff about a man answering that heroic call. A tragic figure, a narcissistic tragic figure in Tony Stark, evolving into the Iron Man. Absolutely love this movie. Marvel, though, one thing that we can usually say is that usually they kind of have weak villains.
They do.
And they have a weak third act. Brooks, what do you think about Jeff Bridges in this movie as Obadiah Stane as the villain, amongst other MCU villains, and how the story wraps up at the end? Do you think it happens too quick, or do you think it's right? Do you think it's too long? What do you think?
I think as far as length goes, it always felt like, right to me.
Yeah.
But as for Obadiah, I thought Obadiah Stane, the villain, was really good, but Ironmonger, the villain, was pretty disappointing.
Really?
Yeah.
The only thing that bothered me about Ironmonger is how did Obadiah Stane learn how to pilot this thing
just overnight?
So quickly.
Just so quickly. He just popped in it.
So quickly. But why do you have an issue maybe with him? With the Ironmonger?
Well, mainly it's just an older model Iron Man suit, basically.
With more weapons.
It's like if in the comics, somebody found one of Tony Stark's first Iron Man suits, the big clunky robot ones,
yeah,
and stole it and tried to challenge Iron Man with it. He just be like, pew. It was upgraded with a lot of weapons. It's an old style Iron Man suit with kind of a few tweaks made to it.
But it's
because he took the original suit and reverse engineered it.
Which I guess at this point, it's early on, so Iron Man wouldn't have as many newer models or upgrades or anything.
Yeah.
But still, I thought Ironmonger wasn't a good match for,
Okay. Well, in the original script, because first of all, you got a Mandarin reference in this movie with the plan of the 10 rings, right? And so that dude that's in there, and he's got the one ring, in the original script, that's the Mandarin. That's the Mandarin. Mandarin, Stane, they've made a deal. Mandarin kills Stane. Mandarin puts on the Ironmonger armor. And they decided to change it because I guess they liked the performance. They were getting out of Jeff Bridges or something. But that got changed and would left the Mandarin for future use. We shall see. We'll talk about that in a few weeks. But I do think I like the Ironmonger. I like Stane in this movie. I do want to know how he learned how to pilot this thing so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about Stane as the
Obadiah
villain?
Stane, he's perfect.
He's no Loki, he's better than Red Skull.
He's way better than Red Skull. He's no Ronin. He's better than Ronin.
I like Ronin.
Ronin's okay, but
he accuses.
He's an accuser, but he the only cool thing he did was the hammer thing.
All right, but what about Stane?
Obadiah Stane was more layered. All he wanted was to double cross Tony. This was his whole plan, was to double cross Tony. It was interwoven. It kind of felt like Winter Soldier entry with him actually orchestrating all of it.
Yeah.
To make it that way. So I like that part of the film. I like that they were building up to the Mandarin. Maybe that guy dies and then the ring is removed and it goes to someone else. And then he's got a ring. I thought they were actually going to build that up.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that they tried to make something or just hinted at something. And I like that. I want to know more about Jeff Bridges or what he wanted to do with that character anyway. His motivations were perfect. He wanted to be a better Tony Stark. He just wanted to take that company.
Yeah.
And make more money.
It's the company he built.
He built.
He felt like he put all that effort and work in.
It felt like, it was just a good, solid villain. He wasn't cookie cutter to me.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed him a lot.
I did too. And obviously it seems like when we watched the movie originally, we were like, well, Obadiah Stane's the villain.
Right.
But I think the way it happens, you really hate it. Because
it's like his friend.
Oh my God. The scene when he brings the pizza to Tony and Tony won't go along with him. He's like, here, you can have a slice. He's like, I'm taking the pizza back.
I'm taking the pizza.
These actors, they had such a good just chemistry together. They did so well. I loved it so much. And when Tony's like, you remember that moment when we almost had it? When he's talking to Pepper, he's like, that moment. He's like, you meet him in the moment when you left me alone. sitting on the balcony forever. I love the way Paltrow and Downey
They
Jr.
play
worked
off each
together.
other, yeah.
Howard was great in this movie. I think the actors shine. I think Jon Favreau did a great job. Speaking of great performances in this movie, the unsung hero, Happy Hogan. Jon Favreau doing Happy Hogan. Amazing, funny, action-packed, super, super cool. What do you think, though, about... We got to talk real quick about Coulson and Fury at the end there. I mean, did that blow your mind when you first saw that back in the day?
Coulson? Yeah, actually it
yeah.
did. It's pretty clean. You have to realize that that's our first glimpse of them just adding things at the ends of movies. This is the reason we sit and watch these credits.
Granted, Masters of the Universe tried to... They were a trailblazer. They tried to do this back in the 80s. Nobody
that's
paid
right.
attention.
That is absolutely
We're still
right.
waiting on that sequel.
Yeah. Oh, God, with Frank Langella.
Oh,
Gotta have him
didn't
be
he die?
skeletal. Yeah, he's dead.
Man.
That sucks. We should have more skeletal.
Not to end on a downer, so...
Go ahead,
But
man.
the Fury
But
stuff
yeah,
was fun. It was
it's
great.
fun.
What do you think? How awesome is the end credits thing in Iron Man?
Well, at the time, it was really awesome.
Yes.
I remember because it was the first time we were seeing Samuel L. Jackson Fury.
Which was only at that time Ultimate Nick
Yeah,
Fury,
like,
that's right.
which Brian Hitch drew
the
to
Ultimate
look
books
just
were
like him.
like big. Were still big back then.
Yeah.
Too.
You make the
So,
Ultimates.
We were like,
And this was
oh,
the
yeah.
template for the movie universe.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ultimate Fury was so awesome.
Yes, he
I was
was.
like, oh man, they're gonna make an awesome Fury, and well, yeah, he's pretty awesome.
He's a
Fury.
big deal.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
This movie's intense. It's fun. We think it still holds up. And so how do we rate it? How many ya digs do we give it? That's right. We got a rating system here at Pop Culture Philosophers. They're called ya digs. Out of 5, how many ya digs do you give Iron Man, Jelani?
I'm going to go with 4.
4 ya digs.
4 you digs.
All right. What
All
about
right.
what about you, Brooks? How many ya digs?
I give him 4 diggums.
4 diggums. 4 diggums. That's fine. We can allow you with the diggums. Diggums are just unevolved ya digs. I give it 4 ya digs. That's across the board. 4.
Yeah.
4. So we're saying that like we want to leave room for movies that we think came later that are better.
It was good.
Because there's
I've
some
seen
there's some
better.
MCU movies I think they're better than
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah, a lot better.
Some of them may be controversial picks. You will be seeing that in the coming weeks. Thank you guys for checking out Movie Monday here on Pop Culture Philosophers. Let us know how many ya digs you give Iron Man down below and any thoughts you have on what we said or what we didn't say and all that jazz. We'll be back here next week on Monday for The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton. Who else
Wait,
is
Mark
it?
Ruffalo wasn't in that movie?
No, he was not. Who else is in that? Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler and William Hurt, of course, and Tim Roth. Dreamy Tim Roth, of course. Why did I blank on Tim Roth? I feel like a monster. Anyway, we'll be hulking out next Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Every Monday is Movie Monday in 2018. You dig?